Welcome to the Fatherhood Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Pluff. Each week, we will cover various topics that dads struggle with in their fitness journey. I'll give you actionable steps that you can apply right away, not only to take back control of your own health, but so you're able to be a better example for your kids too. All right, welcome to today's episode. Today, we're going to talk about why you should not drop your calories so low when you are dieting. Now, something that's pretty common is to try and drop your calories as low as you can so you can lose weight as quickly as possible. But I want to encourage you not to do this. I'm going to discourage you to lose weight as quickly as possible, because typically when you lose weight as quickly as possible, it's not very sustainable. And I would rather you lose 15 pounds very slowly and keep it off forever than lose 15 pounds as quickly as you can and gain it back even faster than you were able to lose it. And so how I figure out my maintenance calories is I take my body weight in pounds and I multiply that by 15. Now, there's lots of different equations you can use online. If you found one that works best for you, go ahead and use that. But this one has worked well for me, and it's kind of what I stick to. It factors in a little bit of just daily movement, and so I don't add any other exercise into it. I don't have to figure out my BMR or anything like that. It's already kind of factored into the equation. So for just for simplicity's sake, we're just going to take somebody who's 200 pounds. So we're going to take 200 times 15, and that's going to give us 3,000. So then maintenance calories for a 200-pound person would be 3,000 calories. Now, it's pretty common to drop calories down to like 1,500, 1,800. Now, for me, I'm not a very big guy. I could sustain a 1,800 calorie diet at least for a while, because my maintenance isn't nearly that high. But for somebody who's 200 pounds, somebody's 200 pounds, a 1,500 or 1,800 calorie deficit would be about half of their daily requirement, their daily need. And this isn't very sustainable. Now, what happens when you drop your calories so low is, one, you're going to be hungry. There's no way around that. You're going to be hungry. Two, you're probably going to be pretty irritable. I know when my calories are low and I don't have enough food, I get a headache, and this is when that hanger comes in. You're hungry, you get angry because you just need food. It happens to a lot of us, whether we like to admit it or not, and it happens to our kids too. Don't give your kids food for a while and see what happens. It's not a good idea. You got to plan your trips around nap time and plan your trips around snack time as well. You got to make sure you always got food, because people are generally happier when they're eating. And so if you drop your calories too low, what's going to happen is, one, you're going to be hungry. Two, you're probably not going to be in the best mood. Now, if you've eaten most of your calories before lunch, then when you get home, you're going to feel like a failure if you eat a big dinner because you went over your calorie goal. Now, how I figure out how low you should go on calories, just like with anything, just like we talked about with finding your maintenance, there's lots of different calories. But what I found works the best is to take your maintenance and multiply that by 75%. So if we take 3,000, multiply that by 0.75, the minimum calories we would want is about 2,250. So that's a 750 calorie deficit. And we don't want to go much lower than this. One, because we talked about being just a little irritable, quite a bit hungry. And two, if you're trying to build muscle, if you have some performance goals in the gym, then you're not going to be able to recover. You're not going to be able to recover as well as quickly if you don't have that calories need. So if you drop it too low, it's going to affect your recovery. When you're trying to lose weight as well, when you're in a calorie deficit, this also affects your sleep. So if you already don't have the food to help your body recover, and now you're not sleeping as well, now you're not recovering at all, and you're probably not going to make a lot of progress in the gym. Now, when I do a cut, I like to do cuts through different times of the year. I like to maybe cut for a month, and then I go to maintenance, and then I'll cut again. Or if I'm happy with how I look and I want to pack on some size, then I'll just be in a surplus for a while. But typically, I don't like staying in a cut for too long, because eventually I just get tired of it. I end up overeating. I feel like I'm failing because I can't eat in that deficit for more than a few weeks at a time. And so what I found works really well for me is if I cut for 3 or 4 weeks, maybe 5 or 6 weeks at a time, and then I go into maintenance. Sometimes it's just for a week. In December, I told all my followers on Instagram that I was going to lose 5 pounds by December 31st, and I was going to show you how. And so I tracked all my food. I showed everything that I was doing, and I reached my goal in 3.5 weeks. I actually lost 5.8 pounds, almost 6 pounds, in just a 400 calorie deficit. And during that, I did not feel miserable. I ate cheeseburgers. I ate a lot of my favorite foods. I didn't always track. There were lots of meals that I was out of town with family, and it made it much more difficult to be accurate. So I did not track. And so, but I was still able to lose the weight. And so for the last week, from about Christmas time all the way to New Year's, I just went into maintenance, and then I maintained that. Um, because I had already reached my goal. And like I said, what I found is if I'm in a deficit too long, I get bored of it. I end up overeating, and then I kind of undo all that progress I made. So if I can cut for a few weeks and lose the weight I want, I can take a break. I'm probably just going to take about a week break. And then once January 3rd hits, that Monday, I'm going to go right back in the deficit, and I'm going to lose a little bit more. But like I said, this is not a race. This is not a race for me. And I also have a lot of goals in the gym as well. So I only do about a 400 calorie deficit because it allows me to still make progress in the gym. It allows me to still feel like I'm recovering, still getting enough food. And it also, most importantly, for myself and for my family, I'm not irritable. I'm not taking it out on people. I'm not just all the time. I'm just not thinking about food. And so it's much more sustainable for me. So if you're trying to lose weight, if this is your number one goal, fat loss is your number one goal, I encourage you use the formula that I lined out. Take your body weight in pounds, multiply that by 15, figure out your maintenance, multiply that by 0.75, so 75% of your maintenance, and that's about as low as you should go. But one thing to remember as well, though, is for our example here, our maintenance was 3,000 calories. The 75% of that would be 2,250. Even if you ate at 2,700 calories, you were 500 calories over your goal there. You're still in a calorie deficit because you're below maintenance. Remember, it's not a race. I know you want to get to your goal as quickly as possible, but try and get to your goal as the most sustainable way as possible so that you don't keep having to start over each year. You don't always have a weight loss goal every new year. If you have a weight loss goal this year, that's great. If you need help with it, please reach out. I would love to help in any way I can. But try and make it as sustainable as possible so you don't have to keep doing this the rest of your life. That concludes this episode of the Fatherhood Fitness Podcast. Thank you for those of you who took time out of your busy schedules to listen. If you have any questions or comments or an idea for a topic for a future episode, please feel free to reach out, and I'd love to hear from you.